Hello, everyone. Welcome back to some more Suzerain, where last episode we went out into the people, met them face to face, assuaded the concerns of the working class, at least hopefully, and we put some broad strokes on our final proposal for the amendment, constitutional amendments. It may have to change based on how much support we can get. But I did already make some compromises that should hopefully appease the soulists, which was I think, my biggest issue last time. Okay, what's going on here? Uh, Foreign for security time, yada yada yada. Okay, so just dead soldiers in the middle of Bergia. Sure, it's fine. Agricultural growth potential, that's good. Growth potential is always good. Untapped coal reserves. Tap them. We need money. Manages Greenery Region Tour. Vulcan farmers seek support. Yeah, we don't have much money though. Okay. Dinner with the Business Council. This is gonna be pleasant. For fuck's sake. Let's get it over with. We were in Letchhaven to work with the Business Council to assess weaknesses in the economy. Simon organized a dinner with the affluent economic figureheads of Swordland. When we arrived, the streets were bustling with activity, even though the atmosphere in the country was tense. Letchhaveners didn't seem very worried. Together with Walter Tusk, Cunt, Edith Agnock, Michael Avon, and Simon Hole, we entered the renowned Asteria restaurant by the coast. A short blond man whose embroidered pocket red manager greeted us and waved his arms in excitement as he told us how pleased he was to have us in his establishment. Beaming with pride, he led us to a private room and got us seated at a large table, covered for the occasion with a maroon tablecloth. We were quickly served by a group of servers. Walter spoke as they started taking our orders. I recommend Lechevan salmon, President. You have to taste a local delicacy here, the best in Swordland. You know, the fact that you recommend it makes me want to not have it. Uh, let's go with traditional Swordish bean stew. Because, fuck you, Tusk. I ordered traditional Swordish bean stew for the main course. The servers took their notes and asked about the second dish. Let's get a salad. The servers placed glasses in front of each of us and served bread and water. After they were done taking orders, they quickly left us alone in the private room. Mr. President, I didn't have the possibility to thank you for coming today. Your presence means a great deal. Indeed, sir, it's an honor to dine with you. Yes, it's great to be here with members of the Business Council. And I'm totally not saying that under duress. We should thank Simon for organizing this meeting. No need for that. I hope everybody enjoys the evening. Simon gestured at the expensive-looking red wine bottle that one of the servers had just brought to the table. Mr. President? No, thank you. Can we continue to just stick it onto them by not having? Yeah, let's try and be like principled and frugal and whatever the fuck. No, thank you. Are you serious, Mr. Ryan? Are you going to pass on the Chateau de Falenco 1934? I'd prefer something regional or at least Swordish. Gonna go on the full-on nationalism for this dinner? For fuck's sake. I see. Wine patriotism. He laughed and gestured at the waiter to bring the best Swordish wine that they had. It is solved. The waiter brought a bottle of Dandelion, the world-famous red wine from Boren. Simon went ahead and grabbed the bottle from the waiter. He poured some in my glass and waited for me to taste it before filling it up. Of course, nobody can say no to a bottle of wine by Geralt of Rivia. Geralt of Rivia. Almost said Geralt of Rivia then, there. I took a sip. It was bitter. Honestly, it tasted like any other wine. Yeah, same. No, not don't really like. Well, I like white, particularly green. I'm not a fan of reds, unless it's like in a mixed drink like sangria or tinto verano. Anyways, how is it? The taste to your liking? It has a sour and logical version. It tastes like any other wine. Let's be honest, it tastes like any other wine. But this wine doesn't even need taste testing. Should I fill your glass or you would want another drink, sir? It's okay, I'll drink it. Simon filled up my glass. I'm not like my body rejects the wine snob answer. After filling everyone's glasses, Simon stood up and raised his glass. I'd like to raise a toast to all of you here today. We're meeting here tonight in difficult times, but I believe that with hard work, cooperation, and trust, we will get through this period as well. I'd like to thank Mr. Rain again for his decisiveness when it comes to economic policies. I'm sure we will stop this recession. I also thank Mr. Tux for being here with us today. His presence is an honor. Fuck off. And of course, my colleagues from the Business Council, Mrs. Agnok, and Mr. Aven. Without you, none of these would have been possible. Let's drink to the future, cooperation, and growth. For a prosperous Swordland. Everybody raised their glasses and toasted each other. After a couple of more minutes, the servers arrived with our meals. The food tasted amazing. Walter was right. This place must have been the best place in all of Lashaven. So how did you find the food in the best fine dining restaurant in Lashaven, Mr. President? I'm not a big I'm not a big fan of fancy food, but must admit it was very that it's very tasty. Says the man visiting one of the finest restaurants in Swordland. Don't blame it on him. Mr. President didn't choose the place. How are things going in the Maroon Palace? The pressure must have increased after you attended that funeral. It's tough. It's tough, but our work on the new constitution continues. We all hope so. As we conversed with Mikhail, I heard Walter raise his voice in an apparent argument with Edith and Simon. We both stopped to listen. Arcasia knows the right way of doing business. Their approach to the world is real and raw. I prefer a cutthroat approach in comparison to the niceties. Well, I mean, it's a nice country to visit too. I have traveled there often in business trips. Their attitude on all countries are nice to visit if you have the cash. Exactly. Exactly. How about the people who don't have extra cash to spend? What about disease? What about death? What about everything that is wrong with the world? Yes, Tusk. Yes, what about? These are matters beyond our lives. We should focus on the betterment of ourselves and enjoy what we are instead of worrying about what others don't have. Yes, Walter, but you see, betterment of ourselves also comes from betterment of others and helping the betterment of others, not hoarding it, you know? You fucking asshole. Old men plant trees whose. Yeah, let's be philosophical. Old men plant trees whose shades they shall never sit under. An idealist at heart. You know what they say, being romantic idealist is easy when you have the time and money to be able to just sit down, relax, and dream. Walter's taking us down the rabbit hole again. By the way, I saw that the construction of the highway has already started. I have my concerns about the company, but I hope they do a good job. I expect that the project will bring new investments from Magnolia. The mood is already becoming positive. I have to congratulate Mr. Rain for starting such a massive project. Thank you for your support, Mr. Raven. Of course. Mr. Hall also deserves credit, of course, our great economy minister. Is there a joke coming? Why, I thought you said you were great at economy. He laughed. I've heard that you've bought a new villa, Simon. I don't comment on rumors, but I'll make an exception since we are among friends. It's true. Should we chastise Simon? I mean, it is a bad look for government ministers to be buying villas in a time of economic recession. So yeah, new villa is a bit much, especially in this economy when people are suffering. It's a bad look. So what? My car collection is nearing the 40 mark. Fuck you. No one cares about your opinion. They are old timer. They are all old timer models. Maybe it shows overcompensation. I always advocate for against ostentatious behavior. Money shouldn't be wasted for luxury. Don't expect the rich to become modest in the near future. So help me, if there's one thing that I do in this presidency, it will be to make you a modest man, Walter Tusk. You fucking cunt. That will be a pipe dream. Some people are more sensible. I believe balance is possible. I agree. Edith, who was sitting to my left, gently put her hand over my arm for a few seconds. Come on, let's not talk about finance or politics for now. We came here to relax. She turned to Walter and Simon. Isn't that right, gentlemen? They nodded at her and took a sip from their drinks. She slightly leaned toward me. So, Mr. Rain, why don't you tell us what's behind that strong character of yours? I've heard that you had a difficult life out there. Is that right? Uh. Yeah, my family cared for me as much as they could. I couldn't ask for more than that. That's very humble of you. I never met your family, Mr. President. How are they doing, if you don't mind me asking? Uh, f- I mean, it's not true, but I don't want to say this. I mean, we don't. But yeah, I've been very busy. We don't talk much since I became president. It can happen. Sometimes work can get in the way. Don't stress yourself over it. Family is everything. My advice would be to make sure that Frank has a solid relationship with you. He is your future, after all. One thing that I can agree with you, Tusk. We found the one thing we can both agree on. This is a miracle. He's going through the teenager period. It's difficult to connect with him. He's a little shy. I wish that was my son's biggest problem. Darren seemed to be doing fine. I saw that his yacht party in Bentley made the local news. Well, the rascal didn't even ask for permission to use the yacht and just took it. He basically stole it. The problems of rich people. Good news is that I finally convinced him to go to university. He will study economics in Latvian Business School. That's a good choice. Having a degree in Swordland separates you from the rabble. What the fuck? And we especially need more people who understand economics. Talking of which, it's great that we have another leader who actually studied economics and understands it, like Mr. Alfonso. Look at what he caused. Studying doesn't get you to the finish line. True, but I think it was his ambition that brought him down. Too many big changes in a short time frame. Correction. It wasn't his policies that destroyed him, it was the old guard. Yeah, again, probably true. Uh, I believe that too. He threatened their economic power base over the country through a vast privatization plan. They removed him and backed you after. Walter, stop with the conspiracy theories. I think we've had enough drinks. Everyone went quiet. After a long silence followed by some chit chat, Walter ordered a bottle of whiskey. That's one good looking bottle. The waiters brought one of the finest Arcasian whiskies, It was the time for a toast. Simon, do the honors. No, let's toast ourselves. I stood up to give a toast. Just to spite Tusk, to an equal society without class differences, Amorgana Westcore. Aye. Nobody else responded, and Simon looked like he had a little too much alcohol. Worth it. There was an awkward silence as they looked at each other with glasses in their hands. What turn sees that? Thank you, Edith. I think it's time we call it a night. Edith stood up. Most of us were all a little bit tipsy at this point. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for joining us, and you, Simon, for putting all this together. I thank you, Edith, for joining with a bunch of ugly rich men. That's definitely not me. The president of jokes. Thanks for being here. After bidding our farewells, we slowly walked out the restaurant. The moon was shining bright as everyone except Walter left in their luxury cars. President, a moment alone, please. The fuck do you want? He called me inside the small VIP lounge. What do you want? Usually the Lorthburg spokesman doesn't directly comment on the administration, but I'd like to say a few things since this was a special evening. I'm all ears. Finally, a president that listens to the people. It won't be easy to pass the new constitution through the Assembly and the Supreme Court. We could help you get it through if you, in return, help us with a few economic requests. Fuck off! Walter lit his cigar and took a few drags before continuing. Many in the group are disappointing in the economic direction that you took by promoting an inefficient planned economy. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. Oh, but you definitely should, President. He looked me in the eye. You rejected our previous discreet offer to pick underhaul construction. Your, not the groups. Your personally, you can't. For the execution of the first mega infrastructure project. This action could lead to disappointment in the group. Fucking business coup. There's gonna be a business coup, isn't it? Isn't there? You are aware of the upcoming tax meeting, and it would be a step in the right direction if private corporations would get a tax cut. There's a fat chance of that, mate. To boost the economy with job creation, of course. And the positive side effects would be our support to the administration throughout the entire term. Lothburg will not influence me. Oh, let's not be hasty. The recession will end if Lothburg is on your side, President. Why can't we all just be friends? Because I despise you and everything you stand for. I don't think so. I have other plans for the economy. That's a shame. I did offer you a peace branch. There was an awkward silence. Either way, President, we are here and always ready to work with you if you change your mind. Don't forget that. There's nothing to work together on. Good evening. Walter let Serge left, and Serge came to pick me up. And I entered the car, and we drove to our residence in Latchaven. Serge took the seaside route. Fuck's sake, having to deal with Tusk. Car bomb attack in Arvory, that's not good. School poisoning connected to Bloodish woman. Again, not great. Hey, let's do some budgets. Preparation for the government budget were finished. Most of the cabinet gathered in the White Room for the important occasion. Nearly half a year had passed since my inauguration. The cabinet looked overworked. Welcome, everybody. Great to see you. Hello? Mr. President. Sadly, Prefecture Gus Manger and David Wishy won't be attending this meeting. They are working on the upcoming trade agreement with Velen and Agnolia. May the Lord be with them. Kara gave a barely disguised eye roll. Before we begin, is nobody going to mention the ban on the young swords? However much their political aims might differ from our administration's, surely you must agree that freedom of expression must be protected at all costs. Yes, freedom of expression must be protected at all costs, and because freedom of expression must be protected, we must not allow those whose ideologies is expressly against freedom. It's Have you heard of the paradox of intolerance? The paradox of tolerance? For a society to be truly tolerant, one must be intolerant of intolerance. We cannot. Banning fascists is self defense. Banning fascists is protecting freedom of speech. Yeah, I mean, Miss Morgana is right. Nia flashed her appreciative smile. I myself strongly disagree with you in swords politics, but I believe that. She broke off as she noticed that Lucian, Simon, and Yosef were looking at her, and Nia in stony silence. Ladies, let's leave the extraneous chit chat for afternoon tea. For fuck's sake, let her speak. Kiara shot a pleading look at Leleas, who merely pursed her lips disapprovingly. Yeah, if you have problems with the ban, call a separate meeting with me. The Simon started loudly shuffling some documents around. All eyes turned to the Minister of Economy. Thanks to Simon's expertise, I'm sure we'll achieve lots of great things today. Thank you for the compliment. Today is a big day. We must prioritize our spending wisely in order to achieve the goals we set out as a government, while maintaining enough political support. If I may add, promises were made during the election. There are three options regarding the budgeting of the four main branches of the government. It's either we increase, maintain, or decrease the funding. Increasing will result in an improvement of the branch, which will unlock new policy options. Maintaining will keep the funding, resulting in no visible change. Decreasing causes a loss of efficiency in that branch. Is it possible to maintain as much state control as possible? The problem isn't the amount of money spent. It's how efficiently we spend it. It's true that many of our policies could be far better implemented. Our welfare systems are full of issues that need to be addressed. For instance, we have to be careful as to what we do to what we fund, so we have resources remaining for another investment project. Uh, yeah, we should prioritize our most critical branches. Agreed, we have to make strategic decisions about our budget since our resources are fairly limited. Before we begin our discussion, there is one more thing that I want to voice my opinion on. As we manage the government budget, we can go into debt to invest in different branches. However, under these circumstances, it would worsen the economic crisis if we pushed it too far. It's difficult for us to raise debt with the current unhealthy economy, but we can increase the amount of debt we can take as the economy improves. I mean, money. I mean, the the state's budget is not like your house budget. The state has to spend money in order to generate money. We should spend as much as possible to achieve growth. A stimulating strategy could have positive political effects with increased support. Given the current state of the economy, improving economic situation is a political priority right now. More so than ever, we want to win the 58 election. This budget will also be applicable to our entire term. It's very critical that we plan correctly. Let's begin then. Which branch should we discuss first? Let's talk about healthcare. Our healthcare system is vast and provides free services to most of our citizens. However, the quality of our health services is far worse in low income and rural areas. Therefore, I think that we should receive more funding to address this disparity. I agree, I have recently begun an investigation into healthcare in Narble, and the numbers are not good. If we don't increase spending on health services, we at least need to maintain it. Otherwise, we are putting lives at risk. We have just started a new analysis on what would happen if a pandemic struck Scotland. According to the results, if our healthcare facilities remain in their current state, the death toll would be unimaginable. I'm not even talking about the damage to the economy. This is a matter of life and death, Mr. President, and it should be treated as such. I agree. Um, we need to improve our healthcare. What else are we here for if we can't keep our people alive? Let's discuss law enforcement. I'd like to have an increase in the funding of law enforcement to increase the size of the police force and raise salaries. We have so many internal threats to tackle, and I'm already stretching my units far too thin with the limited resources allocated to me. Nia cleared her throat. Law enforcement is certainly a high priority, however, I feel tackling internal corruption is of far higher importance than increasing our police presence. Directing the funds to my department would solve the problem at its root. If corruption is still rampant, all the police in the world won't help us. We need a specialized anti corruption police unit, which we would create if the funds were directed to me. I agree with Miss Morna. We should not reward a structure that is responsible for an ever increasing number of human rights violations. Additionally, corruption is the reason our government inefficiencies. It needs to be tackled. The police are here to serve and protect the people of Sutherland, Miss Valda, and that is exactly what we were doing. More funding will allow us to take care of our police forces. It is quite a simple choice given the current status of the country. Yeah, I agree with. I agree with Neil. We need real solutions for real problems like corruption. It's time to hear the opinions on the military. What is there to hear about? I already voiced my opinions. Rumburg is coming whether we like it or not, if not this year, next year. If not next year, the year after that. Mr. President, you and I have a shared responsibility to protect this nation from the enemies, and I intend to do so until my last breath. I will say this with certainty. If Rumburg doesn't make a move against Swordland in 2 or 3 years, my name is not Josef Lancia. Okay, yes, Josef, it's true Rumburg is a threat, but let's calm down with the theatrics. Josef was beginning to lose control of the volume of his voice. There can be no argument against increasing the budget for our army when there is an enemy at our doorstep, waiting for us to make one wrong move. Anyone who thinks otherwise is a fool. Mr. Lancia. Alright, pardon my theatrics, sir, but this is a serious matter. The future of our country is up to you, Mr. President. Well, there is an argument the armed forces does nothing but eat away financial resources destined for our people while stoking fears for an upcoming war. Yeah, but this time there actually is a possible upcoming war. The issues with Romberg can be solved diplomatically. Not so sure. They are massive cunts. What kind of message are we sending to them if the whole world, if we suddenly start ramping up our military budget? That we are ready to defend our nation, Miss Walda. Exactly. I mean, I agree with Kiara. We need to be as diplomatic as possible. The military needs to be a last resort. Well, what about education? Our education system is lacking not only in funding but also in modern curricular principles. Our outdated curriculum is wasting our youth. That is the reason why I advocate 2 things: an increase in the budget to improve access to education in rural areas and a new education reform. To be honest, Sutherland is lacking compared to Arcadia and United Quintana when it comes to education levels. The backbone of any country is its people, and we need to protect our future. We need to ensure the new generation is as well educated as their counterparts in more modern countries. Nonsense. Sutherland is here because of this very system that you insult. Calm the fuck down, Lilius. How can you insult a system that teaches our sons and daughters the principles of national identity and pride? Fuck's sake. He won't be compared to other countries. Sutherland is Sutherland. I agree with Lilius. Sutherland is Sutherland. Yeah, Sutherland is also a shithole right now. We need to improve things. I must also remind you that we promised that we were going to focus on education during our campaign. Yeah, I agree with Kiara, it's high time we invest in education and enact reforms. Made up my mind about the budget, we can proceed. Very good, taking points from everyone, well done. The time to make a decision on the budget has come. Consider it with care, Mr. President. Simon placed a stack of papers on my table. I turned the first page. Okay. Final budget -2? Are you serious? It used to only cost 1. Oh, fuck. I cannot afford to do the military, sorry. This is a massive debt. Yeah, let's go balls to the wall. I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound. I had finished allocating the government budget to the satisfaction of some cabinet members and the dismay of others. They and I knew this would define a significant part of our term. We had a deficit on our hands. We will need to resort to the debt to finance future investments. The situation can have adverse effects if we don't strike a balance. Agreed. Well then, let's start with law enforcement. Nia and Elias were both smiling. Thank you for this decision, Mr. President. I knew you would. For fuck's sake, I'm pretty sure it used to only cost 1? 3 for each? God damn it! Thank you for this decision, Mr. President. I knew you would see reason on this, considering our internal security threats are at an all-time high. I expect to see a return from this, Elias, for fuck's sake. I still disagree with Ms. Graff on how the money ought to be spent, but the increased funding is certainly a step in the right direction. Any statements on the matter, sir? I trust you to push the Ministry of Interior and Justice forward. We will be able to achieve positive results in the coming year, I can assure you. We will tackle corruption and the backlog of cases head on. Let's hear the Minister of Education. Kara was eager to comment. The increase of funding is very welcome. We finally go after some comprehensive improvements by building new schools and improving the education system. Surely a well-funded and larger Ministry of Education would benefit everyone. Our future depends on our children. Education is the first step on the fight against ignorance. This, I won't see a return, but this is a long-term investment. Education is our future and will be not sidelined. Our focus on it is clear. Thank you. It is great to see a positive change in the attitude of the administration for the first time in a decade. The military is next. Kiara clearly wasn't finished, but didn't interject. Yosef chimed in. It's an honor to serve with a president that respects the military. Trust me, with these funds, our armed forces will be better than ever before. Lucian seemed as if he was about to say something, but looked down at his notepad when Yosef eyed him. Without talent and expertise, you will overcome the issues. Yeah. Next up is healthcare. Let's continue. I'm only giving you money because there's a very real possibility that Rumberg will declare war on us and we're fucked. Let's hear from Mr. Bennywood. Thank you, sir. This health budget increase will help to focus on improvements. Our people will now be safer than ever. I'm also planning to tackle issues like the lack of rural hospitals and the recently worrying number of maternal deaths. Welfare must remain a priority for our term. There is no other way around it. Healthcare is very important for us, and we will move forward. It will improve. As we move forward, it will improve drastically. It feels invigorating to have the weight of the government behind my cause. That covers all branches. Each minister will approach you with their respective policy requests and expectations over the next year. Thank you for your time and participation in this significant moment. The meeting is concluded. Hell. Oh, we're fucked. Regardless of what happened, I wouldn't be here without you. Don't forget that we are a team. The ministers bid their farewell, some excitedly, others dejectedly. The cabinet slowly dispersed out the White Room. The budget for our term was concluded. Massive deficit! Massive fucking deficit! But that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. As always, I have been Pope. Please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.